Hello, my wonderful students. All right, we're back. I adjusted the lighting a little bit in the scene because I wasn't getting a good read on this before. I was meaning to doing a gun finger at somebody, but it wasn't reading well enough. So I needed to get these fingers to read more, and I have it more looking like he's just pointing at someone, like calling them out. Anyway, I'm just explaining why the lighting has changed. Let's do some contour breakup here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit tab and I'm going to type maximum and we're going to get a redshift maximum noise. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in another ramp and we're going to do a ramp texture. Again, it doesn't matter what you bring in, a ramp is a ramp. So if I accidentally hit this ramp stencil, doesn't matter. I'm deleting everything around it anyway. So there we go. So we add that ramp and then we're going to do the connection of the ramp. Now you got to hit these little pluses. If you don't hit these little pluses, it ain't going to work, right? So we're going to go from the out R into the V here, right? Um, there you go. That's it. And we're down to this point right now. Remember to hit that little plus so you can expose the ports. So I find that's where a lot of people have problems is like they're trying to connect this into that and that's just not going to work, right? So we're doing one channel into another one channel like so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to this master outlines here and I'm going to take this and I'm going to middle drag it onto the thickness like that. Now watch what happens to this. Now, sorry, the thickness modifier. Let me make sure. Oh yeah, I have it written right. So we're going to drop that onto the thickness modifier and watch what happens. So right away, our lines, they shift, they break up, and they're looking a little different. Now, what I want to do is I want to control that a little bit better. And so let's go into the maximum noise setting. First, I want to see what I'm doing. And a really nice cheat way that I use all the time when I'm doing texturing and I want to see what a noise looks like or something like that before I apply it to an object. What I'll do is I'll just take that color and when there's a surface node, I'll just connect it into the surface node like that. I can easily bring it back later on. So you see here, we just have that Perlin noise and that Perlin noise is what's coming along and it's sort of biting that up a little bit. But what I can do here is I can go to this, and what we can do is we can start with the scale, and we're just going to bring up that scale a little bit. So we're going to get different types of breakup, and now you can see on the lines there what that different type of breakup is looking like, which is pretty good. The reason why we have this ramp here is because this will allow us to increase the contrast, right? And thus the lines and how those lines are breaking up. Now, once I start doing this, it's going to be a little bit harder to see what the effect is because it kind of begins to blend in with that. Now, I am not trapped to this Perlin noise, right? Also, note that, where it's black, there is no thickness, there's no line, and where it's white, there's the maximum thickness, which is 15. And then we have everything in between that. If I want to make sure that we never get rid of any line, I can just bring up that value a little bit, right? And this value here is like 13% of what 15 would be, and so that would be the minimum thickness, right? But here, along here, I'm getting more of a choppy feeling, and I don't think I want that choppy feeling. I think I want a different feeling. Here we go. You can see it a lot better here. So I'm going to go shopping for noises. Another component of this as well is we have the UV vertex attribute, and that's going to use the UV page as sort of the standing mark for this noise. Here I need to bring this down lower. And so now it's mapping on, like these textures are getting mapped on. Problem with this is we're going to get texture seams in our outline, which is kind of weird, right? So I don't want to do that. Object means that it's going to stick onto the object and it's not going to use the UVs because they're 3D noises, and this is what makes Maxim really good, is these 3D noises. So here I can here we can put it on the object, and then it's not going to move, right? So whenever I'm at this angle, it's always going to look that exact way, and it won't look so swimmy. But sometimes we might want a swimmy look. We want more of a sketch look, and at that point we can go to a world, and the world, as the character moves throughout the world, then his lines would end up shaking, right? So object is going to give me not shaky lines, right? But it's going to give me some nice breakup overall. Whereas world, it's going to feel like those lines are swimming through the universe, right? Um, and it's going to give you a different kind of look. So here I'm going to go to object, and then I want to kind of like shop for noises, because different noises are going to do different things. Like the cell noise, here you see how I'm getting this breakup, this different type of breakup, and that's what that cell noise looks like. Cranial, here if I want I can come in, maybe bring this down a little bit, maybe give it a little bit more push this way, and oops, let's see. So you see what that looks like there, and we might like kind of how that's breaking up, but we're finding it too tight. So then I'm just going to go to this overall scale, and I'm just going to increase that overall scale, make that bigger. And so that's going to give me bigger lines, right? But then we have that breakup there, and I might not want that type of breakup, right? Or I might want that type of breakup. I don't know. It's just being an artist, right? Doing what you're doing. But you see how I'm getting those different weights. Now I can come over here, maybe bring this up a little bit, right? So I'm always gonna have a little bit of a line. So I mean that carnal, that's not bad. Why don't we take something else for a drive? So dense can well, that's what dent is doing, eh? Kind of denting things up. Might not be that great. Displacement turbulence tends to do pretty good, right? This kind of fractal kind of noise problem thing. FBM is another kind of fractal noise as you're going along, right? So that one's not that bad either. Hannah, that one is maybe just a little spaced out a little too much. I think Luke, not Luke. Where'd you go, bro? Luca Mod Noise Naki. Here we go. Naki, I kind of like Naki actually. And then I can just bring this scale down to get a little bit less breakup throughout here. And here I can see what that's looking like. And then I can also bring this down to control that weight. I can spread that out a little bit more. So you see I'm getting a much softer line, and I'm getting some breakup. Now what I can do is I can bring these together so I'm not getting as much breakup, or basically whatever you want to do. But I'm just trying to get some chaos into that line and some breakup into that line, right? And now from here, these lines aren't going to be affected because that is, if we turn the thickness modifier to 0 here, you see that's getting rid of those internal shapes. Now if I go thick, it's gonna, if I go too thick, it's gonna start overwriting what we're doing. So at this point, what I might want to do is I might want to drop this into this as well, into that modifier, and then punch this up as well, something like that. That will give you some chaos everywhere. And then finally I can just reconnect this guy like that. And there you go. So maybe not that knacky. That FBM was actually doing pretty good. So maybe we'll go to FBM. And here I'm going to reduce that contrast by taking these further apart. And now I'm getting just a little bit of a shakier line going on. And I'm getting just some additional line breakup going through this. So, and I think that's not looking bad. And look at the render times on this stuff. Hit render. Boom. What is that? 3.3 seconds. All right. That's a 4090 and the RTX 2070, by the way. Anyway, you can see how that works, so you can enjoy the way, play with what you like. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show the tone maps. Redshift has these tone maps built in. So we're going to do the tone map pattern here. And I'm going to replace, let's do it on the pants, because we get some good shadowing on the pants here. So I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to, let's just throw it into this one. You can put it anywhere. So I'm going to put it into that right there, and let's hit play. Right, and so here, let's play with these patterns. So here it's using the halftone pattern, so I can play with this scale. I can bring this scale down like that. The it's the halftone pattern. Oh, was I playing with the scale? I'm at 1. I think I was playing with the scale. There we go. Now I got some softer stuff going on there. Now, of course, this is going to work like it works before. And so the kind of nice thing here is I'm getting this kind of stuff in the transition. I also can do that with the crosshatch, right? It's definitely giving me softer lines, and I can play with that. You see how I get the little bit of a sketch going on in between these two little sections, which is pretty nice. And then, of course, we can rotate that as well. And we can get that coming in. And then there's also a grid pattern that you can play with. You can play with that scale as well. Here, there we go. Now I can get that nice little shift right there. Right, and if I like that shift at that middle pattern, what I can do is I can come back to this guy right here, and I can add a, this is our, the master, that's the master rim. So here's our master base color tone map, and that's what I'm attached into right now. So I'm just going to attach this back in. And what I can do is if I want that sort of in a transition area, I can click on this here, and I can make sure I have this selected. Then I can middle drag and drop this into here. And if I pull this apart, see how I'm starting to get that pattern now? Right? So we can start going like this, extending that a little bit more. Now I'm getting this sort of white effect coming from that, and that's coming from like the colors here. So if I was a smart soldier, what I would do is I would color match these colors right here, the dark and the white. So I'm just going to steal this color by adjusting it like this. It puts it up there when you do this little trick here. So now I'm going to come over to this guy, and I'm going to select my dark color, and now I'm going to select my brighter color. What I could also do is just use some constants, and then that's going to help me in the transition there between that, but it's still going to require some effort on my part, it looks like, because I'm getting a little bit of a color shift. And right now I'm using a very strong light. If I take this guy and I reduce that strength, I'll get more of a transition, right? Because I'm getting a bigger fall off as it's coming along. And so you see here how we're getting that coming in through here. And now I can just come in and just give this a little bit more of a color correct. Probably in the bright part, desaturate that a little bit maybe. I don't know. Might have to do a little bit of hue correction. There we go. go like that, and I'm gonna go to this darker piece here, and again I'm gonna play with this hue a little bit, do a little hue correction, and that will get me to about that value there, and then I can make it darker and then do something like that. And that's how I can get those halftone patterns coming in and transitioning from the sides. I don't know how great, it's not great that way. But yeah, that's a thing you can do. That's basically it. It's a thing you can do, right? So I'm gonna take that off like that, and I'm gonna put this back. And again, what I'm saying is usually if you're animating, it's gonna look better where you're mostly all white and you just have a little sliver for your light. And then here tends to look better when you're just a little bit brighter in those shaded areas. Don't go too dark, so you don't want to lose your character, stuff like that. And use that rim light to help sell these internal shapes. Cool. So that's it for my videos, and that's it for the Redshift shader, Toon shader. Thanks a lot.